What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Gaslight Chill podcast, episode 5. We here with the GOAT, Maria Rose Johnson. Yeah, that's her real government name. She got a bald head. She graduated from Florida A&M University.
I swear to God, I catch you on another one of these podcasts telling our business, I'm gonna kill. I don't even have to go on there if you will learn how to communicate like a man. I ain't even trying to hell. I ain't.
Yeah!
I probably do these vlogs every week, but today I hit 1,000 subscribers. You might think that's not a lot, but you know that help you get monetized on YouTube. And I know I already had a YouTube channel I was already monetized on, but this is my own personal shit. So like, this means so much to me, and it's only the beginning. One day I'm gonna be celebrating 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, but until then, I'm just grateful for this little small win. I want to thank God. I want to thank Kayla, Troy, Nigel, Mike, my mama, Nigel, just in case I forgot anybody, Jamal. I just want to thank y'all for real. It meant a lot to me for y'all to come on my pod. Now, mind you, I didn't think I was going to hit 1,000 this fast. I hit it literally in 4 episodes, 22 days. So, God, thank you. And, you know, these vlogs going to keep coming. You got to keep going. You know what I'm saying? Shit don't stop at 1,000. We got to keep going. But celebrate at every little win.
Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University.
Yeah, but you know I went to Jack State's.
You like that straight guy.
And yeah, we're going to be talking about a couple of things we'll be talking about today.
We're going to be talking about corporate America and how to navigate corporate America when you are freshly out of college.
Yep, and I just graduated from Jackson State, so I'm gonna need this advice. So we got a couple of questions for her. This is gonna be a great pod. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and leave a comment at the bottom if you want more content from Maria Rose Johnson. Okay? Alright, the first question is, can you share your experience of job searching after graduation, and what was the biggest challenges from that?
So when I first graduated from undergrad, I have an undergraduate degree in business economics, and at FAMU we had a really good career center, which they still do. Jackson State also has a very good career center. My child did not take advantage of it.
Yeah, my line brothers did though.
Yeah, but they really, really do. They send them like email after email to try to get them to come to different events that all these corporations come in. But anyway, FAMU had the same thing. You go in, we did interviews on site and those type of things. So
like practice interviews, kind of sort of.
No, it was interviews for jobs. Okay. So real jobs. But I want to come my silly self home, which is probably wasn't the best. But anyway, my first advice would be to make sure you take advantage of the career center if there's one at your school. And the second thing is make sure that you are open-minded and you're willing to move, because you don't have to move and stay where you are. You can go somewhere else if you don't like it. So you definitely have to be willing to move. And the best time to do that is when you're young and you don't have a family, you don't have kids and those type of things. So that's the best advice I can give initially, is to take advantage of the career center and also be willing to move, relocate to any part of the country, out of the country now even. So,
okay. My second question is, how do you think people should prepare for the job market while they're still in school? What you kind of just gave me advice on just taking advantage of career.
That's not it though. You have to have meaningful internships when you are in undergrad. You have to, because if you don't, there's going to be someone that does have meaningful internships, and unless you have some type of network opportunity or you know someone, they're going to be able to beat you out of that job because they've already been at that particular company maybe. Yeah. Or if they haven't, they have meaningful experience on their resume. And meaningful experience is not Home Depot as a cashier. It's not Chick-fil-A. It's not Walmart. It's not Target. It's not any of those things. So you can also find internships at career centers at whatever school that you attend. And so again, it needs to be meaningful. If you want to have a leg up when you start searching for a job.
Okay. And what resources and tools did you find most helpful in your job search when you did get your job at Progressive and things like that?
So, it's not as simplistic as that. The part of the issue with what's y'all Gen Z. Part of the issue with Gen Z is they don't want to crawl before they walk.
Yeah.
So
I see a lot of people on TikTok complain, like a lot of people on my timeline that just graduated. They just say like it's just so hard out here and it's this, but you know, I feel like you do have to. Not you have to, but you could struggle.
You have to crawl before you walk. So the first thing is this. You're not going to graduate and make six figures. I mean, you guys are really delusional with that. Like you,
I think it's
let me finish.
All right, my bad.
Y'all delusional. You cannot say, oh, if I'm a business administration major or an entrepreneur major or a social media major, because I know there's such a thing now. But you're not going to graduate making six figures. You might not even make $80,000. You might make $60,000, but you have to start somewhere. You have to get experience so that in the future that you can build up your salary expectations. My biggest suggestion is always to go get in the work field, but then get a graduate degree. You can get a master's and 1 year MBA if you know what you want to focus on. A lot of people don't even know what they want to do with their careers when they graduate from college. So I had no idea. I just took the first job I can get, and I made $23,000 a year my first job out of college. And I know that was probably 35 years ago, about 35 years ago. So of course, boy, shut up. So I'm aging myself here, but you have to crawl before you walk. You have to get that experience. But once you do get that experience and your resume is stacked, you can really then command what type of salary that you want, especially if you're competent, especially if you get on the job and learn it. Especially if you're confident, not cocky, but you got to be confident, and you also have to be authentic. So you have to be true to yourself. And so making sure that whatever job that you work at, that you learn something while you're there, not just, oh, I'm just here, I'm working this is a job and job hop from year to year. No, you need to figure out what it is that you want, so that you need to set a 5-year goal and you need to set a 10-year goal and figure out what it is that you want to do in the workplace.
What you think the difference between confident and cocky is?
So the difference between,
if people don't know,
confident and cocky. So if I'm cocky, I'm tooting my own horn constantly. I am telling you what I'm capable of doing. I'm gonna tell you what I am doing. But I probably don't know what I'm doing. You gaslighting. That's what gaslighting is, when you cocky. You want me to believe that you know what you're doing, and half the time, if I ask you a question at work, if you're supposed to be training me, you don't know what you're talking about, or it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And so, because if you are smart, and not everybody is, if you fast or astute, you'll pick up very quickly when someone does not know what they're doing. However, if you are competent, you are very, you're very matter of fact. It's easy for you to explain what it is that you're trying to teach to the person that's starting a new job. You're always available to them when they have a question, and you don't mind showing them, because you are basically helping them learn their job, and it makes your job easier, because especially if y'all are peers, if you teach somebody everything you know, it's no big deal, because then you guys both will then be able to do the job efficiently and effectively. Yeah. And it will not be no hating going on. And no, everybody's not your friend at work. Don't ever think that. Don't ever go to work to even make friends, because you might come away from work with a friend, and I mean a friend, one. But when you go to work, that's not the place where you locate friends, because you cannot trust anybody, because you never know what anybody's intentions are. And so
our goals are
that. Well,
that's what I learned from
it could be goals, it could be intentions. People will throw you all under the bus. I could sit here and say so many stories of how I've been thrown under the bus, and people pretend as if they're trying to help you, then they go behind you. When I say they smile in your face, they got some backstabbers in corporate America. It's like unbelievable how much they backstab in corporate America. It's horrible. And so you have to be able to recognize that, and it's very hard when you first start off to understand why people would backstab you, because you're like, really, like, people, if you're not a backstabber, that blows your mind. I had to learn that the hard way. And so I try to talk to my mentees often to make them understand, nobody, don't trust anybody at work. They have to prove to you that they are trustworthy. Don't just go in the door and be like, oh yeah, everybody's my friend. No, not at all. And 99% of the time, once you're confident and competent, you are going to be the smartest person in the room. And don't ever let anybody tell you that you're not.
Okay. Use some snaps for that.
Snaps good.
So now we get into interviews for when you're trying to interview for these types of jobs. So I got a couple of questions and advice that you want to give to people. What was your most memorable job experience, and what stands out about it?
I mean, you're asking like my most memorable job itself?
Nah, job interview. So like when you went into the interview and like when you came out, you was like, yeah, like you kind of remember that for the rest of your life. And what stood out about it?
Let me say this about interviewing. Interviewing is gaslighting. That's a good gaslight. If you don't know how to gaslight, then you need to learn when you're going into an interview, because you have to be quick on your feet. They ask very foolish questions to me that doesn't prove anything. Like if I'm coming into an interview, and like me, the amount of experience that I have right now at this big age of 52, I have 3 degrees, and I have over 30 years of leadership experience in corporate America. So there's not a whole lot of stuff, and I'm very successful in any role that I am in, but there's not a whole lot they can ask me as a leader that I can't answer. So as far as interviewing goes, you have to be able to think on your feet. They always ask star questions. And what is the situation? Mm-hmm. What is the task you did when you were in that situation? What is the action? And then what was the result? And you have to answer all 4 of those things to have a successful interview. If you do not know what the STAR format is, because that's what that is called, you should Google it and you should practice it. And you should think of, if you're going into the customer service industry, or you think that you're starting off and you have to deal with customers, that's internal or external, you should have things ready. Oh, this is how I dealt with a customer, and use the STAR format. Or they may ask you, if you are getting a job in logistics, they might ask you stuff about equipment. So as long as you think, oh, this is going to be a STAR format, and if you don't have an example when they're asking, you have to be able to make one up. Like, it doesn't have to be true. Just being honest, they don't know if it's not true. They're not going to call and say, oh, BJ did T-Mobile, did BJ do this when he was at work? Nobody's going to ever ask that. Make up anything. They don't know, and make it sound good, and add details, as many details as you can, because that's what they need. They like you to have like a calendar. They want you to do check-ins and things like that. So you always have to just be well prepared when you're going in the interview, whether you have experience or not. You just need to make up some experience. If you don't have experience, make it up, because that's what they do, and you know who they is. I guarantee you, most of them, I am always 99% of the time the smartest person in the room. And just because you are the smartest person in the room, guess what? They don't have to know that. You have to be strategic. You have to lay in a gap and make it seem like you don't know a whole lot. And then when they get to doing all that useless talking, most of the time that's what they do, trying to make themselves look good. Then you go in for the kill and make them look silly. And then everybody be like, oh yeah, she's so smart, he's so smart, that is a good idea. Yeah, maybe we should approach it in that manner. So just because you talk a lot, that doesn't make you smart. So if you're the person that's doing all the talking, you're probably the least least knowledgeable person in the room.
You think
so
people
just
that
keep
talk
that in
a
mind.
lot, show themselves like they not that.
They always show themselves. They always show their hand when they're not bright. They do all that talking, and they don't know what the hell they talking about. They don't add any value to the conversation. Just talk, and don't nobody want to hear all of that.
Yeah, and then how do you prepare? How do you prepare for your interviews, and what's the process to it?
So for me, when I'm preparing for an interview, I think about. A lot of times they'll ask you, what do you do like in your current job, right? So that's the first thing I focus on. What do I do? What is my job do this? And I write everything down. And I don't, and it could be, you can be typing or you could write. Yeah, I know y'all computer.
Yeah.
I write because I write because it makes me retain information. So I write down everything that I do in my current role. And I also write down anything that I think that's relevant, the relevant experience to what job I'm applying for, so I won't forget anything. It is okay to look at notes when you're interviewing because nobody has, like at my age anyway, you don't remember everything that you might possibly do. So you can look at your notes. You don't have to have a pregnant pause, but you can look at it and say, hey, you know what, I'm referencing my notes. So yeah, I did 1 through 10. Make sure that you highlight, and a lot of times it's very difficult to talk about how wonderful you are, but you have to highlight all of your accomplishments. I have a big problem with actually telling people, oh, I do this, I do that, but I am a big deal. And so because I am a big deal, I have to make sure that people that do not know me, that do not know my work ethic, know how I'm a big deal. So that's a hard sell when you're not accustomed to boasting on yourself. And that is what they've taught us. They've indoctrinated us to say, oh, don't boast on yourself. And I'm talking about black folks right now. But that they do it all the time, and half the time what they're saying is very inaccurate. So you have to learn how to present yourself in a manner that then, oh, look, she is a big deal or he is a big deal. So you need to point out your accomplishments, list them, say what it is that you're doing in corporate America, what your accomplishments were, if you were Employee of the Year in 2017, if you in the insurance industry, and I'm referencing this because I am, I closed 500,000 features in 8 months or anything like that. You have to be able to say what you've done in your career and it's relevant to whatever job you're getting. The other thing I do to prepare for interviews is whatever job I'm applying for, it is I'm very specific. I think about what questions they might ask. You guys like to use ChatGPT? You can actually Google, what might this interviewer ask for whatever job, and they'll tell you. They'll give you 5 or 6. You can say, give me 10 questions. Give me 5 questions.
They made my logo for the podcast.
Yeah, so you can ask them to do all of that. And so when they spit out them questions, you then get to work and you start answering them. And what you can also do, they know how to ChatGPT, knows how to answer questions in the star format. Ask me how I know. I tried it and I was like, oh my God, it really does know how to do this. So you put that question in ChatGPT, you say, hey ChatGPT, answer this question in a star format, but then you have to put your own spin to it or it will be robotic, because when you're interviewing, you have to be able to tell a story. You have to sell your story. It is a story. You don't want to be robotic. You want to be authentic. Whatever you are, whoever you are, you want to be true to yourself. You want to be your authentic self because you want them to be able to see that, because you're not only doing skills when you're doing a job, but you also have to get along with the people that you work with. They have to know maybe they're a bunch of clowns, right? Because I work with a bunch of clowns, and I don't mean that in a negative way, in a fun way. They want to know if you're fun. They want to know, like, if you are data driven. If you like numbers and you like data, they want to know that, because that might be the skill that they lack. Because I am a leader, I hate numbers. I hate data. I don't care about data. All I want to know is the end result. So because I know that I hate data, I surround myself with people that love data. I can pick up the phone and say, hey, such and such, give me the numbers for this and why we did that, and get back with me. So you should always surround yourself with people with the things that you're weakest in, or the things that you don't like, with people that do like it and that they're strong in. So that's my take on that.
Okay, and I got this is a side question. It's not even in my notes, but how you feel about, okay, you're interviewing me and you ask me a question, and it's a good answer, but I keep saying like long pauses. How you feel about that?
When you are doing or long pauses, you know what that means? That means that you're
people that say literally a lot.
They can say anything a lot. It could be literally. It could be anything.
Yeah.
So when you are doing that, first of all, if someone tells you that you're doing that, you need to take that feedback and focus on not doing it.
And don't be so sensitive to it. Okay.
Exactly. Do not be sensitive. But most of the time when people say it's because it has nothing to do with it's because you are trying to fill a space. So what I noticed, because I took a class, it's called Presenting for Action. It's a phenomenal class. They teach you how to present.
You took it at FAMU?
No, I didn't. It's a corporate class.
Okay.
So it's a training, a corporate training. So when you are saying and it's because your mouth is open. So if you feel yourself about to say close your mouth, and you won't say anything.
Okay.
You just have to close your mouth.
Yeah, because I just did that.
And your mouth was open. Close your mouth. When you're finished talking, just close your mouth.
Yeah, I just don't like when people
it's practice.
Like even when I say when I do a podcast with somebody, I like to do it with people that kind of know what the topic that we're talking about, because if they don't, the podcast will get very irritating with somebody, because if I'm asking you about the top 10 rappers and you only know 2 or 3 rappers, it's kind of like...
Because a podcast is a craft. And if you're not serious about your craft, then you shouldn't be on a podcast.
And I feel like if you want to... This is just my opinion. Now, she can tell me if I'm right or wrong. But if you want to be great at something, I feel like you should go watch and learn about everything, or like the history of it.
Learn your craft.
Yeah, so like podcasts, even... I've been doing it for at least 150 episodes. And I know I edited and posted at least 980 videos. And... now that I achieved a lot of things with it, I just know I still have to keep going, because I didn't put the 10,000 hours in. So, and then I still listen to podcasts. I still try to see how other podcasts do things. Or like, I watch Joe Rogan and Joe Budden, the top podcasters, and I watch everything they do correctly, and I try to bite some from them. I learn how to twist it in my own way. So
yeah, you have to perfect your craft.
Yeah.
If you want to be a beast at whatever it is that you do.
And the times like when it really get low, because sometimes I have low moments with this, like with the podcast part. You have low days. Yeah.
You have low moments at work all the time.
Yeah, and
you have low moments at work, and a lot of times it may not have anything to do with you. It's always other people that have impact. People can impact you, and this is probably a whole podcast at work, because they are strictly just haters, or they are trying to move up, and they're mad because they can't beat you, and your presence bothers them because you're way more competent than them, and your competence is effortless, and they cannot deal with that because they don't want to put in the work, and they're mad when you put in the work, and then you get rewarded or recognized for it.
Yeah, because I was down by myself like the whole 2024. Like I hit 50 videos this year that hit 10K, and it stopped at 10K. Like, as soon as it hit 10K, it stopped at 10K. But it gets so stressful, but I gotta keep going, because I hit 100K last year. So then it's like, I wonder why I'm not doing it again this year. So I just keep getting better and better and better, and having deeper conversations and really helping people. Because with my personal podcast, y'all know I do Jokes and Bad podcasts too, but this podcast I've been getting a lot more comments and likes and stuff too. So people really like this, and I'm already at 500 subscribers. So hopefully by the end of the year I get at least 2,000. Because I did 6,000 pretty fast. And that's hard on YouTube. That's really, really hard. So yeah, hopefully I keep going. But the next portion of the pod, this is going to be the ending of the podcast. This is going to talk about code switching. And a lot of people, I feel like that's very, very important. Me personally, I need to get better at it, because I'm a clown.
See, no, you're saying that you need to get better at it, but that's not why I wanted to talk about code switching.
Yeah.
So code switching should be at a minimum.
Okay.
It shouldn't be. You shouldn't have to work somewhere where you have to be somebody other than your authentic self. So, authenticity is what attracts most people to you.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna ask this though. Can you explain what code switching is?
I'm about to tell you.
So how it manifests in everyday life.
So code switching is when it depends on your audience, who you are. So if I'm at work and I'm in a work setting, I might change my tone because I don't want anybody to hear my accent there because I'm from New Orleans. So, or if I'm a Southern from Alabama or from Mississippi, I might have a drawl and I may not want anybody to hear that because they treat me differently because they look at Southerners, or they're not that smart. Or I might say y'all, and you know, a lot of people from the North don't say y'all. That's a Southern thing. So it's different ways that you can code switch. So if somebody is from, let's just say, Mexico, and English isn't their first language, so they have a Hispanic accent, or they may not even understand all English because it's not their first language. So it is them trying to pretend as if English is their first language because they're trying to appease somebody. They're trying to make somebody else comfortable and make themselves uncomfortable. Yeah. Why would I want to work somewhere where I have to be somebody other than myself? So me, personally, I am unapologetically me because I know what I bring to the table. I know how smart I am. I know I have 3 degrees, 2 master's degrees. So I don't feel like I need to change who I am for anybody. So most of the time when I am at work, I'm my authentic self, and everybody appreciates that because they like when people are authentic. They know that I'm not fake, and they know if they need the truth, they come and ask me all the time because I can't do anything but give them the truth. So because that's just who I am. And I'm also never going to be malicious when I'm giving them the truth. Everything that I tell them, it is without malice. So because of who I am, they can trust and respect me. And also you have to learn how to keep your word. So if somebody trusts you enough, once they realize that you're your authentic self and you're always going to give the truth, you can't go back and tell everybody what they told you, because then you're breaking trust. And the hardest thing to regain is trust. Yeah. So you don't want to break trust. So again, with code switching should be kept at a minimum. Of course, you have to know your audience. If I'm in front of the executives, meaning the big wigs at work, of course, I'm going to make sure that I speak in a manner that they can understand me. I'm not going to speak in dialect. I'm going to make sure that I speak proper grammar. I'm going to make sure that my subject and verb is correct. And so, yes, I do code switch, but I keep it at a minimum because I want to always make sure that I'm true to myself and make sure that I am authentically me. I'm not going to change who I am for anybody. I'm too old for that. So my advice on code switching is just keep it at a minimum. Make sure that if you are at a company where you feel like you always have to be somebody else, if you have to talk white, whatever that is, or if you can't show who you are, if you are a person that, hey, like for me, I'm big in Mardi Gras. Like I love Mardi Gras. Like that's my favorite holiday. If I can't go to work and talk about Mardi Gras and be very open about the crew that I ride with a predominantly gay crew. If I can't go to work and say, oh yeah, I'm in a Mardi Gras crew, it's predominantly gay, and that's one of the reasons why I chose it, because I'm really big on diversity, and they welcome me. It doesn't matter what I look like. It doesn't really matter what anybody looks like. They welcome everybody in the crew. And if I can't have a conversation like that at work, then I don't need to work there. Yeah. So any job that you have needs to be able to embrace diversity. And if they don't, you don't need to work there. And I know right now they're trying to ban diversity, equity, and inclusion in every state, which is the silliest thing that I've ever saw in my life, that I've ever seen in my life. But you need to make sure that if you are going to work for a company, that you can be your authentic self, and that they appreciate diversity and inclusion.
Okay, that's a good answer. When did you first become aware of code switching in your own experience?
Was it
like I remember I feel like we talked about this before.
So
like
I'll give you an example of when I realized that
the code switch, like kinda
that who I was a big problem, because part of the problem when you live and grow up in New Orleans is that it's predominantly black and you don't experience a whole bunch of, well, I didn't experience any racism in high school. I went to an all black, all girl high school, and then I went to FAMU, an all black school. Yep. So I experienced racism for the first time, believe it or not, in Tallahassee. Not at FAMU, obviously, but when I was just out in the community, I was like, are these people playing with me? Like, I just wasn't accustomed to that because I'm from New Orleans.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, when I realized in corporate America that I had to kind of tone it down a little bit, I worked for a chain of convenience stores and as a district manager. So I used to have to drive from convenience store to convenience store and do whatever I was doing. And I would, in your mind, and I know that everybody does this, when you graduate, you have, like, if I'm going to take a job, I'm going to be dressed to the nine when I go to work. I'm going to have on my heels, and my hair's going to be laid, and all that kind of stuff. Well, at the time I had hair. I'm bald now, but I had hair then. And so I used to wear all kind of hair. So I had blonde hair. It was super blonde. And so I used to wear all kind of hairstyles.
I didn't know that about you.
Well, you know now.
It's like,
so it depended on what week it was, how I wanted to wear my hair. So I went to the hair salon literally every Wednesday after work to get my hair done. So it depended on how I felt.
You paid for it all the time?
Yeah, every week.
Oh, no man.
Because I didn't do my own hair.
No man never paid for it.
No man.
Yeah.
When I had men pay for stuff all the time. You can't be my man if you're not paying for nothing. But anyway, so I got my hair done every week, and so it was blind, like I said. And I went to work one day, and I'll never forget this. This guy that I used to work for, his name was Dan. I'm not gonna say his last name, but he was real cool cat. I liked him a whole lot. He taught me a lot about corporate America. I will be like.
Was he a white man?
Yes, and he taught me a lot about corporate America, and I'm happy that I worked for him. And so my hair was like in this big, like
Freaknik.
Yeah, probably like Freaknik. And he said, "Listen, I just have to tell you this. I love your hair." He was like, "But when we go to these meetings, you can't wear your hair like that." He was like, "These people are stiff. They're crazy. Like, I'm good."
Oh, so he was being real with you.
Yeah. That's why I appreciated him. He was like, and so he said, just wear what he said. Right now, your hair not regular. He said, just wear your regular hair when we go to these meetings.
I feel like that's a problem with people my age. If somebody told people my age, I feel like they'll take it so personal.
Well, I don't take stuff personal though,
yeah.
and see what I know about him.
I think that's what you helped me with.
Yeah,
because I don't take nothing personal.
But what I know about him was that he looked out for me all the time. So why would he tell me something that wouldn't help me? And so I realized then that I had to tone myself down, unfortunately, at that particular time, because I didn't have enough work experience to be like, man, I can curse.
Yeah.
Man, fuck you. I'm not changing my hair for nobody. So right now I would do that. My hair is red. And in the area, I am not my hair. So I'm never changing my hair for anybody. And in corporate America, this could be, look at this red hair. But I don't care now. I wouldn't change anything about what I look like. I go to work obviously presentable. But I'm not changing my hair or anything like that. But he made me understand how crazy corporate America is, and I had to learn a lot of lessons when I got to corporate America. And if I can help anybody, and I have a bunch of mentees, and I'm not saying if I can help, I always help, because I truly believe in lifting while I climb. I lift a lot of people up, and so I help them understand certain things about corporate. I have to teach them the game. And it's important. If you're going to be in corporate America, you have to know the game. You have to play the game. You might not want to play the game. But if you want to be successful in corporate America, you have to play the game.
Yeah.
And in playing the game sometimes is being told by your manager at the time that your hair is just too much and nobody's not going to be able to take that, and toning it down a little bit. So that's my best advice. Just learn from people that you trust. Get a mentor and make sure it's the right mentor and somebody that you can look up to and say, yeah, they have accomplished so much in their career, and obviously they know and they're willing to help. So that's my advice.
And then to end the podcast, if you had to give me some advice for me and my future, what would you say? Well, what advice would you give me?
The advice that I always give you. And the advice that I always give you is what? Relax.
Yeah, I do
and
be nervous.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you're yourself, what's going to happen?
You're going to get hired.
And what else? That they're going to love you because you're lovable, you're likable.
Yeah.
That's probably,
well, I
get that from me. And so when you're true to yourself and you're your authentic self,
yeah,
then if you just relax and show them who you truly are,
yeah,
they're gonna hire you and they're gonna like you once you start working, and as long as you can fit the bill and work on your skill set.
Yeah, I really work hard.
Learn skills.
Yeah, I really work hard.
You have to learn. I suggest that you always add skills because I have so many skills that I didn't realize when I start listing the skills that I have. It's amazing what you pick up on when you're in the workforce for so long.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a dog though. Like I really work hard.
You're 23.
Yeah, but I feel like I work super hard. Like I go to work and then I edit. You know how long it take to edit like a 40-second clip? Take like 45 minutes for 45 seconds.
And it could, but again,
but I be standing
I've
up
been
to
working since I was 15.
Yeah, so but I don't make no excuses. I at least try. One day I might slip up and be like, but then I readjust and be like, nah, this is just part of life. Somebody going through it worse than you.
And again, nobody wants to hear excuses anyway. It's irritating.
Yeah, it is irritating.
Nobody wants to hear whining. And I'm not saying you can't have a bad day because you can. You can have a bad day. You can be pissed off. You could just be like, fuck life, fuck my life.
Yeah.
But then you have to say, you know what? Let me dust myself off and get up and try again.
Yeah, excuses.
Dust yourself off and try again.
Excuses is aggravating.
Nobody wants to hear excuses. And I cannot stand somebody that whines constantly. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, me either.
Get it together. Suck it up, buttercup.
You know, it's crazy. That really worked for us. Like, maybe when we were smaller, we probably didn't like, man, we blowing it. But then now it's like, I think that helped us a lot.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear excuses.
Yeah. Or like the way people talk to you, like everything, don't be
Yeah, I'm not, no.
Like, I think I could take it
direct
yeah.
and blunt. I'm direct and I'm blunt. And it doesn't matter if you don't like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you up front when you meet me, you either like me.
Yeah.
No, you either love me, I'm sorry, or you hate me. And if you hate me, that's your problem. If you love me, we good. I'm not changing who I am to make you comfortable. I'm not walking on eggshells for anybody. I don't need any new friends. I have a lot of friends. And I have so many friends. If a few fall off, I'm still good.
Yeah,
so I'm not changing who I am for anybody. And I don't care how long I've been your friend. If you get mad because I tell you the truth and I'm direct with you, then so be it.
Thank you, Mom, for coming on the podcast today. That's the end of episode 5. And I really love y'all. I really appreciate y'all.
And in the ending, we're going to strike.
No.
And strike. And strike again.